Good morning. I'm back. I'm Jill with Copycat Crafts by Jill, and I want to give you a quick catch up before we get going. Sorry for the glue on my hands. I wanted to uh, glue some washi tape on the journal we're working on because we're finishing it. We're going to finish it. But I needed to glue. I always glue my washi tape on, and I wanted to make sure I glued it on and left it dry before we moved on to the last and final step. I also thought I would do a closure that would be like a flap, maybe under the back paper, and then curve around, and it would be a flap over the top paper. So I just made my flap and put my tape on it because I knew that I'd have to let that dry as well. And I did search through and pick the paper I would like. And I can give you the name of these papers are from a shop on Etsy called Vintage by Me. I did show them once before when I first got them. I really like them. And I picked them to use for this project. The other thing I may use in this project, before I chose this, was the other kit of from a shop on Etsy called The Old Design Shop Shabby and Age Printable Tags. And if you watched my video on toe tags, I had printed out a bunch of these and just cut out the toe tags for my Halloween, and have all these left, which I love. And at first I was going to try and use them, but I got sidetracked with a flap, so I'm not sure exactly which way I'm going to go yet, and that's okay. Also, I decided I really wanted it tattered and torn because I really am into that right now. So I ripped the edges. If you can see how the digital kit is really ripped and torn and tattered. Love. So I just sort of ripped along the line, ripped my own a little bit, and ripped it to sort of fit here. I don't even care if some of these little edges stick over. I really darkened it. But I also didn't want my tape to show through. If you recall when we made this, you can even see a little bit of the tape. We sanded it so that we could get glue to stick to it and maybe a little ink. But I usually either take and wrap my papers around or tape, and I definitely wanted to use my very favorite postal tape, and because it was so expensive on these edges, I didn't want to waste a whole bunch coming in. So excuse me, I sneeze, allergies. So I did cut it in half. I put a strip down and cut it in half with my ruler and my cutter, paper box cutter. So they're thin strips because I don't want to waste my tape. Not that one. So I did pick this as my cover piece. And then whatever piece I pick for over here, this will be the flap that comes over if I decide to use a flap. If I use a flap, it will have to get glued under the paper in the back. This won't be the paper in the back I'm not sure what paper I'm using in the back, but it will get glued under, and this will get paper on it. So I need to cover this. And I guess that would depend on if this is my front. What do I want covering some of it like this? I like something a little postal-y. I like the idea of kind of the blue, working some green in there, the red. So I might pick something like this, but I'm gonna need to tear those edges and do what I did from this one, because I want them to match. So I'm just gonna start ripping. If I change my mind, I change my mind. And I'm not being careful, not being picky, just ripping. I'm gonna ink heavily. If you're not inking, that's fine. And if you don't want it this tattered, that certainly is understandable. You may decide you don't want washi tape on your edges. You may want to pick a pretty paper or something and go right up to the edge like normal, like you normally would with any other journal. I just chose to do this one a little different. Not sure why, but different. Just trying to. No. Sometimes I don't want to wrinkle the paper too much. I want it grungy, but don't want it garbagey. All right, let's get rid of that. Okay. All right, so I can still probably take off a little bit. More than a little. That's great. I do want some of that color on there, so I'm gonna go for this side. Hope my lighting's not too bad. I never really know what I'm doing with my lighting. Okay, now just to see where we're going to end up, I like to do my inking and then just lay it down there and see what I ended up with. And if you are going to be kind of like me and maybe a little curly, things are going to end up sticking out, you may want to really ink up some of the back so that if any of those edges hang over, which again I almost want to make sure some of the edges hang over, but I do want to make it so that it's definitely sturdy and will last many years. So I don't want to be flippant about it. And I may have to trim some of that, so I'm not. So again, you don't need to buy any special kit. You can even use the whatever papers you were using to make your whole folio. You can pull some of them out and use it. I was actually going to, it's just I used them so much in the folio that I really wanted the cover to just be totally different. So I didn't want to do that. Okay. So now this piece would get glued on here. And I just wanted my postal tape to stick out. I like those edges. If you don't, but you still wanted tattered edges, you could put your tape, washi tape all the way around, or a different thin strip of paper all the way around. Definitely do that. That way you're just getting a peek of that pretty tape, paper or tape, whatever you decide. And I'm still not even sure. I was thinking Velcro dots, just because I like the clean look on the top of not having anything. But I also did pull out here it is. I did pull out a which I think would go really cute. It was actually off of maybe a stuffed animal or a child's clothing. It was part of this suspender. And I just thought, and then I bought this piece at Walmart. And I just thought maybe something like that, and then wrapped around the journal. Well, I didn't wrap it around my journal, but wrapped around my journal. And then this end would get tucked in like that. So I still may incorporate that even if I use the flap. One step at a time, correct? Also, when I glue this down, we're going to want something on the inside, which I figured I'd use the opposite side of the paper. I'm not sure if I just want to glue it around. I wasn't sure if there would be enough, since I'm ripping and not cutting, and so I don't know. We're just going to try it. Again, these are papers that vintage by me, because once I rip this off and it goes in the bin, it's gone. So okay, I just want to try not to bend up my papers too much, and I can rip off what's hanging over too far, if it's hanging over too far. If it's not enough, we get out the washi tape. Okay, so this piece now can go like that, and I can wrap this around. If I'm trying to think, if I cut it, this piece will definitely fit, because this piece is going to get glued under the paper I use on this side. So if I have this, which it won't be, it will be the other piece, but this would be underneath. And then this gets glued to here, and the paper gets glued on top of it. So you're not going to see some of it, so I don't need to try and save too much of it. So we're going to move this out of the way before I get make too much of a mess. And I'm going to ink all the way around really, really, really well. I also think if you were sewing in yours, which I do want to do one where I sew. I really do like that. It's just not really helpful to you if I do one sewing for all the people who don't want to sew in theirs. And I can't show you my sewing because my machine is on the other side of the room, and it's a huge old Singer cast iron Singer, so I can't be moving it. It's just there, and it is a workhorse. Goes through leather, I don't know, concrete, well, maybe not concrete, but it doesn't help for anyone who wants to make one of these, and really the sewing just sort of takes away from the total of how it's done. I think it's just ends up looking a little confusing for the people who aren't sewing. Okay, I really think that's really a lot. All right, I did want this piece on the cover, on the front of the flap, like that. And I think just in case I don't need my tape, but I do want it grunged, and whatever sticks out, I do want it to really look grungy. I'm going to do that on both sides. And you'll thank me for gluing my washi tape on ahead of time. Okay. There we go. Again, I want this piece on the cover. And I'm just going to put this one here. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to get glued. You're not going to see this end of it. It's going to get glued under the paper. So we're just going to make sure we leave enough for the inside so when you open it. Oh, good one, good one. Okay, there it is. That will be that side. Then when we open it, we want this way or this way. I think I want it this way. And so this will be glued here. So that's what we're doing. That's the plan. Okay, so I just want to go a little bit deeper because I'm not putting washi tape on this side. Whoop, here's my cover piece. So I'm just gonna glue that in, and I like a glue that I can give me lots of shift around time. I'm gonna glue into those edges, rough edges, and hope for the best. So I don't know exactly where it might hang over. I kept fitting it and refitting it and re-looking and taking mental notes, and all for naught because I still don't know if I'm gonna have edges sticking over. So better safe than sorry. Here we go. Now we decide exactly where we want it and how much edge to stick out. Okay, let's see. There it is. Okay, just gonna do smoothing, highly scientific smoothing technique. Okay, it's hanging out over. Oh, when I made my flap, I glued two pieces of file folder together because I just felt it wasn't one piece was not thick enough, I felt. So I glued two together, and to make the rounded curve, we are going to score little score lines. I didn't want to do that till after the paper is on. So let's just put a little bit extra. Want it good and dark. And on this side. And then this will go here. Oh, I just want to check, am I doing it upside down? Because it's going to be like this, and then this will open. Nope, that's how I want it. Okay. I'm gluing. We are doing it. Again, I think the back is way longer, so I don't have to put glue all the way back there, I don't think. I just want the front of it to be really glued well, so that it won't go anywhere. some frantic gluing. That's what we want. Okay. Spin it around and see where we want it. And again, anything that's hanging off too far in one spot or whatever, we can rip off and re-ink. We are not gonna worry our little heads about things. Don't sweat the small stuff, right? Okay, so rub the extra glue off. Oop. Hence why I always have glue on my hands. That part will get ripped off, or not even totally. I want some curled around the edge, so I'm not even gonna totally remove all that, just some of it. I want it ripped in like, yep, like that. That's what I want. Yes, that's what I want. Love. See why in a minute. Yep, just rip that off because that's going to get put under the flap. We're not going to see any of that. So there we have it. There it is, our flap. Okay, now that we've completed that, whoop, there's my tape I was trying out. Okay, now we're going to bring back, let that dry, and we're going to bring back our, that's what I want here. Now that we have this semi-done, it will kind of look like this when it's closed. Now I can either put an eyelet and wrap string around it. I can use my belt thing. I can use Velcro. Sky's the limit, guys. Sky's the limit. I think I will cut this. Do I want it curled around? I already did put tape on there, washi tape. But if I curl it around, as you can see, it's short on that side. This piece will go under. But I don't want this piece to look like it's too far behind this piece. I mean, well, it would look like this. Or do I? Or do I? I might. I might. Okay, well, then I guess I'm just going to continue to rip. Okay, I did that side. I need to rip this side, right? Yes. Okay, so let's just rip this side and get it out of the way so we can see what we're working with. And I'm just gonna finish off the inking. The way I ink, I'm gonna need to buy a new re-inker bottle and fill my my ink pad. I went from going half broke on buying printer ink to my mega tank, which now saves me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But I distress ink so much that now I'm buying distress ink like it's going out of style. That's the other thing. Okay, guess I wasn't going to bring this up, but now I got it stuck in my craw. I didn't really learn about Tim Holtz papers or any brand paper. It didn't matter what kind of paper. I didn't even know there were. I just didn't know that. I wasn't a card maker. I wasn't a paper crafter. Had no idea who Tim Holtz was. When I first started watching and people go, this Tim Holtz paper, this Tim Holtz paper. And I thought, poor Tim Holtz. Why is everyone taking his paper? And I also couldn't, it's like, how do you know? You're just sitting there looking at a piece of paper. How do you know that's where that came from? Okay, didn't take me long. You find Tim Holtz and you go, oh, gotta have Tim Holtz. And I loved the 12x12 paper pads. I loved having scraps, Tim Holtz scraps from every project. I really enjoyed having a huge large sheet that I could really work with and then keep the scraps for other things, for pockets and things inside. Then he decided, well, I don't know who decided. I'm not blaming you, Tim. I don't know who decided. All I know is when I watched his YouTube video, he said he listened and he ended the 12x12s and went to backdrops, and I love the backdrops. I have a bunch of them. I haven't used them yet because it just seems like every time I try to do a folio or journal, they're just not big enough. Unless I turn them sideways, they're just not big enough. And so I have 4 packs of backdrops that I have not used and haven't used, and I'm almost out of my 12x12 papers, which is why I went to digitals, because I can print them out and at least they're the size of a piece of paper. I can cut them down to fit my projects. For basically they're 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 11.5, whatever they are. They're big enough I can fit and make something out of it. Not that you can't use backdrops, they're gorgeous. I love them. They're just not big enough for me. And I'm missing the memoranda. I fell in love with memoranda paper pad 12x12. And now you can't find them. I found one for like $50. Not paying $50 for paper, but it breaks my heart. I literally get teary-eyed thinking I can no longer get memoranda. It is by far my absolute favorite, and can't get it. And if Tim Holtz's team or whoever makes it, if you truly are listening, the backdrops, I feel, aren't quite big enough. Can't you go to a regular size piece of paper and please bring back memoranda and some of the ones you ended? The new ones are great. I love them. Just, I'm heartbroken, and I will stick with digitals until some of the old school paper comes back. That's how I feel. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hurt anyone's feelings, or I don't want to diss on Tim Holtz. Love all his stuff. I have lots and lots of Tim Holtz stuff. Love it. But backdrops I just find too small for my projects. I'm just how I feel. Okay, enough ranting. Get off my soapbox. Sorry about all that, but I don't know who I can I don't know who else I can gripe to, because no one in my family even knows the name. They're like, Tim Holtz, what are you griping about, lady? All right, so I was going to wrap it around, but I kind of want to see that paper, so maybe I will just rip it just want to make sure I don't make a mistake as where I'm ripping it, that's all. So that I can see a little bit of that, or do I just want to wrap it around? No, I want to see it. I don't know why. Maybe it's a mistake. Everyone yell at me, but if I put this up about here, I guess I want to rip it bluish area around here. I want it a little short. I want to be able to see the tape if I can. But do I? Alright, I'm going for it. Besides, if I don't like it. Ha. Okay, I wanted it a little straighter. I don't want it, but I didn't want it super smooth, and I think that's what I wanted right there. Okay, decision made. We're going in. Just gonna open this up. Going in to glue. Again, I don't care where it hangs off. I will deal with that. I want it. I encourage it. Now the back, that I have to decide before where my flap is going to be glued in at, because I can't glue the back on till I glue the flap to it. Oh, what am I doing? I didn't ink. That's not working. That gotta be. Thank goodness I caught that. Not that it's not fixable. Surely it's fixable, but who wants to try when it's so much easier before it's glued? Okay, I guess now we all see why I end up with glue in my hair and my shirt glued to something on my desk, and because just who I am. Okay, so we just want to make sure, again, this is really glued really well, and we will deal with whatever squeezes out somewhere, but I want it to really hold. I don't want it puckering up and having to do a flip through and finding loose spots. It happens. Surely it always happens, but I try my best to not allow that to happen. Nothing worse than trying to do a nice, calm, pretty flip through and having edges popping up and pockets, tags stuck in pockets, and it happens. It's what part of this kind of hobby is all about, I guess. But okay, let's see what we got here. I guess I shoved it up one way up too much, but imperfection is perfection in my world. All right, let's get out my little okay. You can use a, what do they call that, brayer, but I like my used up old gift cards, because then if family members see I'm using them here, they know I need them replaced. My little hack. You want family members to buy you gift cards, you have to show them yours is used up. Okay, there it is. Fine, perfect, good. Then we can go this way, we can go this way. I think I want it this way. Now, in order to, I want to decide how many scores I need. So I want this a good 1.5 inches, or maybe even a little more. So let's see, do I have a pencil, and can I find it? Okay, So, and this is no super duper measurement. We're going to give it 1 inch or 2. Let's start with 2, rather more than less. So we're going to start with 2 inches. I don't know if this fits on my little one. No. Well, sorry guys, gonna have to bring out the big guns. Big guns this way. Okay. So pick any line. We're going this way because this is our flap. So from here over, and we can. It doesn't matter which way you score because we're going to score on both sides. I'm hoping both sides, same place, both sides. That can change if I end up making a mistake. So we put that at 10. We're going to start at 8, and we're going to, I do want to be careful. I don't want to poke through, like that. I don't want to poke through, but I have to press hard enough to stay in the correct line. Okay, and we want to score, at every tick. Is that what they call them? And we're probably going to have to flip it around and then, I don't know why it's getting wavy there. I'm probably not pressing hard enough to go through 2 sheets of cardstock and 2 pieces of paper. However, I'm going to soldier on. Soldering on. Also, this is the side that's going to get, this side will get glued in. So we want to stop scoring probably around, I'm going to say here, I'd rather score less now and have to come back and score more than to overscore and then we're like, 2. Okay, every score line. I know it seems a little much, but it's what we do. We are extra. So we are just gonna continue, and then we're just gonna kind of round it, you know what I mean? Like smooth it out. I don't know if I guess I need to, and maybe use can't. Actually, I could just gonna really make it. I'm not in the right. Have to glue that down. Let's glue that down before I rip it. Not that will ruin my lovely rip edge by ripping it. No. Okay. Pick it up so I don't get glue all over my scoreboard. Alright, I'm just gonna round it. It's not really about scoring, it's about relief marks. I'm gonna take the corner of my desk and just rub it on it like that because we just want it to round. So I'm just gonna rub it on the corner of my desk so that it's more rounded like that. We're just gonna do that on both sides. Like we're not gonna, because we want that part to almost be, you know, like movable, soft, like almost a leathery, bendable. And then we're going to take our very lightly, really lightly, we're just gonna whisk over these very lightly on both sides, and we're doing circles, very light, very gentle. There we go. That's right. This part would get glued under paper, so we're not worried about that. But we also want to do this side, and we just want a hint of what's going on here. That's all we want, just a hint. Yep. And then we're gonna just, it will, as we use this, it will round, I promise you that. But because we have done this in I have done this in other projects I made. So we're just gonna round them, and you can score them from both sides. I just feel, I'm afraid my video will get way too long if I just spend too much time. You get the idea. You can score both sides. It works great. I want to see. Okay, here's my front. Is that my front? Yes, that's my front. And here's my sheet. My flap. So there it is, and then this will bend over, and as you can see, it makes a nice little bend. The more you curl that, the nicer the bend gets. That's going to be my flap. So now I want a little extra room in the flap, but that's why we did all these score lines. So I don't want to glue into those score lines. So I think I'm going to just glue it about here. I wouldn't have to glue that much into this piece. Let's see, is this the piece I'm going to use? Yeah, so I'm gonna, I mean, it goes like this. So it's gonna go like that. So I want to make sure I have to shorten this a little bit. So let's see how much I have to shorten it, because I do, when I glue this in, I want it to, it's going to cover pretty much, but I will have to shorten this a little bit. So, gee, and that's really a little, that's going to be difficult. Okay, well, we don't shy away from difficult, do we? Do we? Maybe we do. Maybe we do. Okay, okay. I don't know how Marley Design does this all the time, and she makes it look like easy peasy. And then I get my little paws on it, and it's never as easy as she makes it look, for me. Again, I am kind of I'm a little handicapped at dainty stuff, I guess. I'm gonna put this down and do it this way. I have to reopen my ink. It's gotta look as dirty as the rest of it, right? Okay, distressed. It's gotta look as distressed. Okay, so this will get glued here. Yep, I want that peeking out. And this gets glued under. Like that. Alright, so we have to decide where we're gluing. Depending on where we glue this is where this side is going to fall. Let me just round it one more time. I really did over stiffen that by gluing so many papers together. I probably would not have had to glue two pieces of folder together. Probably one with the two pieces of paper would have been suffice, really. Okay, I want it like this. I want a little bit of playroom there, so I'm just going to take my pencil and mark it right there. Can I see? Okay, so now that is where this will get glued like that. Now I just want to make sure that I'm semi straight. That gets glued like that. Well, let me move it down so I can actually see. Okay, so be right there on the 30 centimeter mark. So that's where I want this on my 30 centimeter mark over there. Okay, 30 centimeter, 30 centimeter. That's where it's going. Okay, just gonna move that up a hair. Oh, well, it's not this piece, but I'm just showing. Yeah, it is this piece. I'm showing. Is that how I'm doing it? I'm doing it like that. Okay. So that's where it's gonna go. All right. Now, I think the easiest thing is to open this up. Yep, make sure I have it correct, and glue this cover flap to my actual thing, then glue this over it. So that's how we're doing it. So before I do that, I just want to give this another opposite bend, because once it's glued in, it's a tad harder than other than just using it to bend it. So we're just gonna give it a couple more, and then now we're going to glue. Okay, so we're gluing it here. All right, so let me line it up again. Let me move this out of the way before I... Okay, so if we put that there, I have something heavy to hold it in place. Okay. Okay. Now, because I want... Now I'm on the 25. Okay. So, glue this. Glue the edge. Again, this will all be under the paper, so... Oh, went past a little bit. Okay. Because glued paper will be going on top of this, so... Okay, so now we want to go to the 25 and the 25. There we go, 25 and 25. I just want to flip it around. Let's see if it, oh yes, that is perfect. Okay, so we're just gonna do it this way. The paper will come this way. Yep, this way. Whoop. Yep, this way. Love. Okay. So just checking. Okay, I'm gonna flip it back around. Okay, gonna flip this all up and press it here. Okay. Just gonna give that a couple seconds. Actually, where's my? Just gonna give that a couple seconds. So we're just gonna put that on there and give that a little bit of room. I'm gonna try and find my my glue pin. Put that on. And I'm going to try to wipe off some of my fingers so I'm not sticking to everything. But, well, it's the story of my life. Okay, dry my hands. Let's see what we got. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep. Okay, so that gets put in. That gets closed. Then this part here is down. That's our flap. This part goes on the back. Can you believe it? basically we're done, other than if you want to tie a rope around it, tie a belt around it, however it is that you want to do your closure. We are done. Okay, let's. Always feels so nice to totally finish a project, especially one that we worked on as hard as this, even though it's not that it's hard. I guess it's just a lot of time, a lot of thought process with picking papers and design and colors, and so it's not that it's hard. It's just a lot of thought, a lot of emotion and feeling, and well, that's probably why. Did I not? No, I did. It's probably why handmade items are, you know, the cost is a little higher. I think you're making one-off items, even if you're making 2 or 3 at the same time, it's still totally different. You put so much of yourself into them. It's not, you know, it's really not having something made by a machine and made perfect and everyone can look at it and think, wow, that's perfect. Well, sometimes imperfect is perfect. And that's how I feel about journal making. Any little shortcomings, any little mistakes, any little... Okay, now we're going to open this. We're going to open this and we're going to flap that out so that we get this as flat as we can. Normally I make my covers and, you know, just all that. I do all that first. I just decided to do it this way. At the time I was so inspired to do the inside that I really wanted to get on that, and otherwise I normally just do the whole cover and all that first, but I was really inspired to do it this way this time, and well, I mean, I think it came out great. I love the tatty edges. I love the feel of it. It feels really nice. There's still room if you wanted to put stuff in. Fuzz, of course, because my fingers are fuzzy. Where's my glue? So now, like I said, I'm not 100% sure how I want my closure. You know, I could, I could connect this. I just thought the color really went perfect. So I could even sew that like that. I could sew that like that. And then put that in there like that. It's hard to hold it. Maybe I should just sew that on and then worry about if I want to use it. It would be like that. If I let it go there, could be like that. You could put an eyelet in and tie string over it, around it. I do like that idea. And you could put Velcro on it. But I really wanted to use my red and blue belt. So I think that's the route I'm going. But I'm going to leave that a surprise until I decide for sure. So that's it. We have it. We have it. Oh, the other thing I was going to do, but then I decided against it, but just something I want to bring up if I can find the one I cut out to use, but I can't seem to find the one I cut out. So I'll have to show you with the one I didn't plan to use, but if you cut out a tag, and I had the really cool tag with the green stripe on it. I had this one cut out and I was going to use it. I have no idea where it got to. Evidently it didn't want to live there, so it ran away. But that's the one I had, and I was going to like triple it and then glue it under this paper, under this piece, but on the flap with a little bit sticking out like that, and then put in a big Velcro dot to hold it down. And you wouldn't have seen this because it would have been under this piece of paper here. Or you could put it on top and put would have to be shortened, but put like 4 brads or whatever, just to make it look cool. And then but I just wanted to use this belt. I found this and I feel I need to use it. It wants to live on this, and I think it's partially why I picked my postal tape and using this. So there you have it. I'll do I'm gonna put some more stuff in it, and I'll do a flip through in a day or two. Okay, sorry if I made this too long. If there's anything I was unclear about or you need more info on, please leave me a comment below. And I'll see you for the flip through and my next project, which will be fun. Thanks for watching. Hugs.